Today, we're diving into some serious drama surrounding Carlos King, and things are getting a little messy. So, here's the deal: Marquez, who's been a part of the Love and Marriage, Huntsville cast, has recently gone on social media and tagged Carlos King in what can only be described as a full-on drag session. If you've been following the drama and all the behind-the-scenes tea, you know that Carlos King has a history of causing controversy, but this time, it's all about Marquez, and he's not holding back. Marquez posted a message tagging Carlos King, saying, "Thank you for never checking on me, calling to hear my side of the story, or even doing your research on who you cast." Ouch, right? Now, when I first saw this, I knew we were in for a roller coaster. Marquez has clearly had enough, and this isn't the first time someone's aired their grievances with Carlos King. But this time, it's different. Marquez isn't just calling out Carlos in a vague way, he's straight up tagging him and putting him on blast in front of his followers. Now, we know that Carlos King, as a reality TV producer, is often at the center of some major controversy, especially when it comes to the shows he produces. This isn't just a random situation where people are upset for no reason. Marquez's post has caused a lot of people to ask, what's really going on here? Is this a publicity stunt? Or is something deeper happening behind the scenes? Marquez continued by saying, "The lies, the disrespect, and the disregard for me, my children, family, and friends, my legacy, it's nasty work." This statement is pretty powerful because he's not just talking about himself. He's talking about the impact that Carlos' actions have had on his family and his legacy. And, honestly, that hits differently when you realize that this isn't just about petty drama, it's about people's lives being affected by the way they're portrayed on reality TV. But wait, let's break this down further. If you remember, there was an infamous interview that Marquez did with Dr. Heavenly Carlos King not too long ago. That interview was a mess, and Marquez was exposing a lot of what he believed to be manipulation and dishonesty from the show's producers. The fallout from that interview was so bad that even Dr. Heavenly, who is known for being messy herself, backed away from doing certain things with Carlos. She said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that she didn't want to contribute to the destruction of black families. So, with all this back and forth, the question becomes, what's the real issue here? Marquez is clearly upset, but is there a legitimate reason for him to be calling out Carlos King in this way? Could it be that he feels as though his portrayal on the show, or his entire role on the show, is being manipulated? It's hard to ignore the fact that we've seen this type of behavior before with other reality stars, and it's never pretty when the producers are called out for how they've treated their cast members. Marquez then added, "If you really care about unifying black families and showcasing black excellence, maybe you should reconsider how you operate before it becomes your downfall." Whoa. That's a pretty heavy statement, and it makes you wonder if Marquez is actually trying to send a warning to Carlos King about how he's been running things. It's clear that Marquez feels like Carlos isn't handling things the right way. And honestly, it raises a lot of questions about the ethics of reality TV and the way these shows are produced. Are these people being used for their stories, their trauma, and their pain just to create drama for the sake of entertainment? Marquez doesn't stop there. He goes on to say, "Call me if you truly care about my mental health." At first, this seemed like a joke, but as you really think about it, it makes sense. Marquez, like many reality TV stars, has been through a lot. The whole situation with Love and Marriage, Huntsville has put him in the spotlight, and it hasn't always been a positive experience. So, asking for a call about his mental health doesn't seem that out of place. In fact, it shows that he's looking for accountability, not just from Carlos King but from the whole production team behind the show. But let's be real for a second, this is starting to sound like a disaster. The way Marquez is calling out Carlos King, the way he's airing his grievances so publicly, it makes you wonder if there's a deeper issue at play here. Could it be that Marquez has been let go from the show? Is this his way of finally saying goodbye to Love and Marriage, Huntsville? It's hard to say for sure, but something's definitely going on behind the scenes. There's been talk that Marquez was involved in some kind of altercation or fight with another cast member. Maybe that's part of the reason why Carlos King is distancing himself from him. If the show is planning to return for another season, it wouldn't be surprising if Marquez's role was either reduced or cut entirely. But then again, Carlos King has a history of keeping people on the show who create drama, even if it means they're difficult to work with. So, it's hard to know exactly what's happening here. One thing we can't ignore, though, is the fact that Carlos King has a history of putting his cast members in uncomfortable positions. Let's think back to some of the other shows Carlos has been behind. There's been a lot of drama surrounding Real Housewives of Atlanta, especially during season 9 when there were rumors about Mr. Chocolate. And who could forget the drama on R&B Divas when Elise Neal was hurt during filming? It's clear that Carlos King's shows are not always the healthiest environments for the people involved. This brings us back to Marquez and his situation. He's been in the social media spotlight for a while now, and it seems like he's had enough of the way things have been handled. But here's the question, what's next for him? Is he really done with the show? Is this his way of calling it quits and walking away from Love and Marriage, Huntsville for good? Or is he just getting started with dragging Carlos King? At this point, it feels like we're in the middle of a big reality TV train wreck, and we're just waiting to see how it all unfolds. We know that things have been tense on set, and with all the recent drama, it's hard to say what's going to happen next. But one thing is clear, Carlos King's grip on his shows might be slipping, and if Marquez's comments are anything to go by, the producers need to start paying attention to how they're treating their cast members. The lies, the disrespect, the disregard, it's all adding up, and at some point, people are going to start asking for accountability. So, what's really going on here? Is Marquez being let go from the show? Is Carlos King about to face the consequences of his actions? It's all up in the air right now, but one thing's for sure, the drama is far from over. Whether you love him or hate him, Carlos King is at the center of this mess, and it's only a matter of time before we find out what's really going on behind the scenes. Stay tuned, because this one's going to get even messier. Let me know what you think about all of this. Do you think Marquez is in the right? Is Carlos King's behavior something that's been happening for too long? And what do you think is next for Love and Marriage, Huntsville? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an update on this ongoing drama. Talk to you all again soon.